doing is you're preventing these officers from being held accountable, so they will continue to act the way they are because they cannot be held accountable, and this administration has signaled that they will not even investigate. So fuck you. I hope that you repent.
Your performative outrage means nothing to me. You claim that
I
you're
know.
not accountable.
Nothing means.
Meanwhile, let's see. Nick Sheldon, Wick looks like he came straight out of Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. I was laughing because are you talking about this guy right here? I forgot his name in the show. But this dude, dude, totally looks like him. Totally looks like him. Just needs like just more gray right here. Just give him a freaking the stupid hoodie. And yeah, that's true. That's Wick.
Mr. Wick and Rob, you're on the air. Wick, what'd you do, man? Or let's give the floor first. Let's have this organized to Rob.
Yeah, I remember that, Scott. That was so funny where they had the debate before the debate. They were debating in the backstage area. And, and yeah, Wick got the prompt wrong and was just pretty much throwing a big fit over it. Yeah, that was great. Classic Wick.
So that he can lay out his case and then Wick, you can give your defense. Is that cool?
I'm your guest. It's your channel.
Yeah, Monterey Jack.
Wick,
Rob,
you told people you're a coward. You told people to put their bodies on the line to obstruct law enforcement and to get arrested. You do so from your comfy chair. This is two things. One, it's probably a crime because you've probably incited an insurrection. Secondly, even if it's not, you're inciting people to break the law, which is despicable. And third, you're going to lead to people being harmed or arrested, which is absolutely despicable. And the situations like we saw are going to become more inevitable because of scumbags like you that encourage people to go out there and challenge law enforcement.
Wick, your response?
Okay, so coward's a funny word for someone who decided to go behind my back, not approaching me, but going to Pisco to talk about me without talking.
Well, Rob would have went behind your back, but his car only has a half a tank of gas, Wick.
To me without, confronting me yourself. So the coward's a funny word to use there. I'll start with that. Second of all, when we talk about blood on our hands, I think the people who are defending these ICE agents and preventing them from being held accountable is just going to lead to these ICE agents continuing to kill people in the street and to brutalize women and to brutalize civilians just for exercising their First Amendment and Second Amendment rights. So if anyone has blood on their hands, it is you, sir. And third, I absolutely stand by my statement that we have a moral obligation to obstruct ICE. And what I mean by that, and I say, if you're a Christian, if you're a patriotic American, you currently have a moral obligation to obstruct ICE. If they come to you and they ask you, where are the Spanish people? Where are the Hmong people? Where are the Somalians hiding? Lie to them. You don't know. You haven't seen shit. Okay? If you see them, hit record. Take out your phone and hit record. Thank God people.
Yeah, but that's not obstruction. But that's not obstruction.
Let me finish.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A fucking Pisco, dude. I was laughing every time Pisco tried to like cover for Wick's. Like Wick would say something stupid and Pisco would have to like kind of like filter out the retard of what he was saying. But yeah, it was like, nice try, Pisco. Nice try. By the way, Wick is saying to lie to law enforcement, which I think Pisco brings up later on. That is, it is illegal to lie to law officers. Oh, okay. So Wick is advocating for something illegal. By the way, even if it's not illegal, even if you are allowed to lie to law enforcement, what's it called? We all know that this is not the extent of what Wick wants. When he says to obstruct ICE, do you really think all he means is just lie to law officers, to ICE officers, and to record when you see incidents? Like, do you think that's all he means? I don't think that's what all he means.
Again, record these people. Record these people. And thank God someone was recording that poor petty guy who got shot, right? Because otherwise people would still be pushing the DHS lies that they put out. And it's crazy to me that you would defend DHS in this. That's insane. And look, I explicitly said to do this all non-violently. Don't touch them, don't hurt them, don't threaten them, but absolutely do not cooperate in any way, shape, or form.
Dude, his voice is the cringiest fucking voice I think I've ever heard. Seriously. But yeah, no, like that's what they always see. The left, they don't say don't hurt them or don't use violence. They don't say that because they really mean it. No, they say that to cover their own asses. We all know they want them to obstruct by any means possible, even if it does mean force. That's what these want. Otherwise, why would they defend people like Renee Good, who almost ran over that officer? Why would they defend the nurse Pretty over here for like assaulting an officer for like actually like putting their hands on him and stuff like that? Or what about the people that were beating that other officer with shovels and he shot the guy in the leg? The officer shot the guy in the leg. Well, why aren't they saying, hey, listen, look, well, don't hit him with shovels, just go peacefully? If they really weren't about using force to obstruct, they would advise as much as possible, just go peacefully with ICE. They would say that, but they don't want these people deported. So they don't say that. So what else are they advising to do?
Form with them.
Okay, I'll respond. One, wasn't an act of cowardice, as seeing as how I started my stream and I had no idea that you would recommend it from your comfy chair that other people go put their bodies on the line by breaking the law. And so that came on in the course of this. Second, I didn't plan to talk to Pisco. Pisco happened to call into the show and I was like, did you see what Wick said? And he acknowledged that it was a bad idea. Third, whataboutism? Even if I was a coward, it doesn't prove that you're not. I noticed that you won't be out there actively obstructing ICE. You just tell your
why won't I? Hold on.
I gave you
hold
a
on.
long.
No. If I see ICE, I'm absolutely going to do those things. If ICE comes to Philadelphia, I'm absolutely going to do those things.
Let Robert respond. Let Robert respond. Yeah.
I was capable of sitting there quiet, something that Wick is incapable of doing. In fact, his lack of sort of ability to control himself is why we find ourselves in this position in the first place, where he is actively recommending that his audience break the law, which is despicable. And the idea that this somehow means that, like, oh, that there's blood on my hands or something is ludicrous. It would be no different than saying there was blood on your hands if you didn't think that the shooting of Ashley Babbitt was criminal. This is stupid. You have no idea what I've said. And people like you that are encouraging people to go obstruct ICE, it's what makes violent confrontations with ICE more likely and why these things will continue. Now I'll ask you a specific question. When you say obstruct, you're claiming just non-violently. If it is a religious thing, as a Christian, as an American, you should obstruct. Should you also put your body on the line to prevent them physically from arresting such as some illegal? Should you try to interfere and get in their way to help the person escape? What do you think?
So I will say this, that Petty, when he went to stop that ICE officer from brutalizing the woman and he stood between them, he did something.
Brutalizing is pushing her down. Like the officer did push her down. That's not brutalizing someone, but he says that word brutalizing, which is a loaded word. Like you get all these images. If I told you a guy was brutalizing this woman on the street, you're going to be thinking, holy shit, he must have been beating the crap out of her, like almost to death, pretty much. And that's not what happened. He wasn't brutalizing anybody, Wick. Nobody was brutalized.
Something that was righteous and just. And the fact that he was beaten and then murdered for it is shameful and
also he wasn't beaten either. They were trying to, well, okay, you know, I take that back. I do remember the one officer, I think, punching him, so I take that back. But they were trying to restrain him. They didn't just beat the shit out of him, is what I would say. Like they didn't just go and just start beating the shit gang member style, beating the crap out of him. They were trying to restrain him. He was resisting. And so, yes, you did have like an officer punching him or whatever. But yeah, he's trying to create this thing that they just beat some guy. And that's not what happened.
Despicable. So when you say things like, oh, you're a coward, if they come to Philadelphia and I happen to be in the area and I see ICE, I'll take out my phone. I will film them. I will not cooperate.
Oh, yeah. So Wick's going to be what, behind the fucking bushes, behind the wall, just like fucking trying to get his phone right there. You know, this asshole is going to be hiding behind a car or somewhere safe, freaking trying from far as possible to try to film it.
With them, this is not a coward's position.
That's not the question. Wait, let me finish. That's not obstruction,
yeah,
one. Secondly, okay, so your argument is if you see law enforcement struggling with someone and trying to arrest them, whether it be someone that's you think is an illegal alien.
Hold on, what did I say?
You didn't answer the question. That's what you said. So I'm asking you
said
specifically the question.
Petty,
The question that I'm
Petty, I
okay.
forget how to
If
say his
you
name.
see
Yeah,
them
Petty.
trying to
Petty.
arrest an illegal, are you telling people to get in the way?
Again, it depends on the context. I think that in the context of the Preddy situation, what he did was righteous and just.
He does sound like Destiny. Again, it's the liberal male archetype voice. Like when you're creating in a video game, like a liberal male, there's like two options, and it's like the Destiny voice or the Sam Cedar voice. So then you get people like Wick or First Amender.
Yes.
Do you think should he have put his hands on officers to try to prevent them from
He
touching?
didn't put his hands on officers.
That's not true. He did.
Oh no,
put his
no, he
hands on
didn't.
officers.
You were
I
lying.
didn't see that, Rob. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's not in the video.
Okay.
You show
well,
me
it's
the
fine.
frame where he puts the thing. We can pull up the video
Okay.
if you like.
Yeah.
He does not throw hands whatsoever. All he does, in fact, he tries to help the lady up and walk away, but the ICE agents drag him back. They pin him down. They punch him in the face repeatedly with a gas canister. They pin him down. They disarm him, and then they shoot him dead. That is
Yeah, but
what
wait, that's not
happened.
obstruction, right? Like I don't think that he was. I agree with you. I think that he was picking her up with the purpose of trying to help her, and I don't think he had the intent to obstruct ICE in its duties. And that's why I don't understand. Like, yeah, I agree that you should record.
That was weird though. Like when that guy was picking up that woman that was pushed down, it's like he was doing it like he was grabbing her by like the neck, like, and he was doing it in this weird way. It's like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
I agree that you should do a little. I think that's protected. The courts have found that's protected. I don't think that what Alex did. There's any reason to think that what he did was criminal in that context. And people who are saying that are just fucking don't have like a clear idea of what's going on. And I don't actually think that there's any good reason for the stop, frankly, in the first place, or even detaining him in that case. And so I don't. With respect to the lies, I don't know why we would say actively lie to DHS as opposed to just like not talking to them and just like not cooperating. So like I just don't understand. Like, can't you say all that without saying do obstruction? Because that by its definition seems like it's saying do.
See, Pisco now trying to talk to Wick. It's like, well, can't you say to do all that without saying do obstruction? Because Pisco knows that sounds bad, you know. Even though Pisco agrees with Wick, like he does. He knows how it sounds. Like Pisco at least smart enough to know how that sounds. And so he's trying to tell Wick, well, listen, can you just do all that without saying the obstruction? Pisco, the lawyer, he's like acting like Wick's lawyer right now. Like, hey, listen, Pisco should have just done the talking for Wick at this point, you know?
Mad at the word obstruction.
Well, I just interpreted that when you say obstruct them, I thought what you were saying is do the crime of obstruction.
Okay.
I think that's dangerous a little bit because like, oh yeah, cool.
Okay, I'm clarifying then. I'm saying that you should not cooperate. You should lie to them if they're trying to find someone, right? And things like that, because you can't be sure if they're telling you the truth. They've lied too much. And I think you have a moral obligation to let people know when ICE is going to be in the area, where they are going, let people know what kind of cars they're driving, where they're going, all that stuff. You should let people know what they're saying. You should blow your little whistles, right? You should honk your horns. Just make the community aware because they are currently, I consider them kind of a domestic terrorist organization at this point. I think that they're.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely.
He wasn't done. Sorry,
okay.
My bad. Just finish real quick.
Yeah, sure. You should record them.
Yeah, just allow my client to finish up real quick. All right, Wick, continue.
And again, these are things that ICE officers themselves have implied and told citizens that are illegal. And if they are, I'm not a lawyer, right? If they are illegal, you should do them anyway.
There you go. So there you have it. He is recommending that you should break the law. These things are illegal. This is no different. And I hope that we find the people in the signal chat that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. I hope the people that are actively coming together in efforts to obstruct law enforcement using, as you hear Wick saying here, he's willing to use violence and intimidation. These are people.
Hold on. He said specifically nonviolence.
This would be intimidation.
I specifically said non-violence. Didn't you hear me? I said non-violence.
What would?
Blowing the whistles, getting in their way, etc., doing what Preddy did. That's intimidation.
What Preddy did was not an intimidation, and only a loser and a fool would call that intimidation.
That is so
only a coward, loser, and a fool, a fat little fuck, would call that intimidation.
Whoa.
Pisco. Whoa, Wick. Hey, you might want to be quiet there. My client did not mean to call you a fat little fuck. Okay. Now, Wick, I'm sure you didn't mean that. By the way, Wick of all people is calling someone else fat. I think Wick's fatter than Rob.
You went personal first. You went personal first.
Let him go. I know the big man that wants to tell his audience to go out and break the law and put their bodies on the line, which will lead to violent altercations with ICE, wants to call other people names. I don't mind at all. I don't need to resort
called me
to
a coward. You're getting
yes,
you're getting the
I
same
do
energy
think
you
it's
gave
an
me.
act. I do think it's an act of cowardice to suggest that other people break the law while you're not doing so. I do think that's an act of cowardice, and it's a dangerous act. And I think that you could see that there is a time where they first push that woman down, that Pretty, gets in the way and puts hands. He's making physical contact with the person. And I think that suggesting
with the woman, right? With the woman, right? With the woman?
No, he's making contact with ICE.
It doesn't
or
look like
CBP.
it's in the video.
It is what it shows in the video. And I'm trying to find it clear.
Can you show us the frame where you think that he's putting his hands on ICE?
Yes, he is making
maybe when he's getting beaten. Sorry, it's horrible. I'm bad.
Yes, when he's physically intervening, when he sees them push them down, he gets.
Tell you what, Rob. Rob. Here's the thing I'm gonna tell you right now, man.
Mhm.
Like, if an ICE agent goes and they push your wife down, I will get in the way and I will protect her. I would hope that you would do the same.
I don't give a shit what your appeal to emotion here.
It's funny because I don't think Wick's married, so Wick doesn't have his own wife to protect, so therefore he has to protect Rob's wife now. Well, I think Rob has it, Wick. He doesn't need you to be like, "Thou shalt not pass, officer," and then just get freaking peppers. Oh God, my eyes!
Is that an appeal to emotion? I'm
what
just
you're
stating
saying,
a simple fact of what I would do.
You're invoking his wife. You're invoking his wife, and you're basically calling him.
So
you're
if you were there on,
saying he's not a real man.
If you were there on January 6th and there were times where officers you thought were going over the line, would you have got in between the officers and them?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
Well,
I think
you
you're
don't
full of
have
shit.
to. I don't care what you think.
And otherwise, you could try to defend yourself here. What you're doing is grotesque and probably is a violation of YouTube
Hold on.
standards. I gave you a chance.
stop.
I gave you a chance. I'm going to go ahead and say my piece. I can control myself, unlike you. I don't need to resort to the little petty bullshit you're saying and interrupt. It's probably a violation of. It's probably a violation.
Wait. Let Rob talk.
It's probably a violation of YouTube standards to recommend that your audience breaks the law. Now, I just wanted you to recant because I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but to the point where you're telling people to actively engage in the types of behavior like we see with these ICE signal chats, which there quite literally could be a RICO standard or a RICO case that will be built because there are people actively instructing people on how to obstruct ICE, something that you're recommending. You're also saying that the things like blowing the whistles in their ear, screaming at them, shouting at them, honking at them, and you would even go as far as Pretty and other people that at times, depending on the situation, you would prevent them from arresting people, shows that you are willing to use what would be tantamount to intimidation. You can't put your hands on ICE. You can't prevent them from arresting people. That is not your place. And to recommend to your audience while you're not doing it that they do that makes situations like what just happened yesterday more likely to occur. And it is despicable. I think it's one of the worst things that streamers could do is to tell people to give them advice to either break the law or to put themselves in harm's way. I find it disgusting, and I hope that you change your tact and tell your audience that that's an absurd thing and that you apologize for suggesting it.
Wait. Yeah, Rob is 100% correct. This should have been it. Like, that's absolutely correct. But of course, Wick is gonna deny it and counter back. Wick is Mr. Van Drysen from Beavis and Butthead. I think actually Mr. Van Drysen is actually more manlier than Wick, I gotta say. But he does kind of sound like him, though.
Wait, before you answer, I just want to make sure that I understand. It could be I'm just telling you, when I heard you say that, when you said, and you will be arrested, it sounded like you were advocating for doing something that would constitute breaking the law. But as I'm hearing you describe the conduct, all this stuff seems like it's legally protected. Recording.
But keep in mind, even though it's legal.
See, again, Pisco in real time trying to sweep for Wick. Well, now that you're saying all this stuff, now I could see that you're not actually saying anything that's breaking the law.
Protected. ICE will still
you could still be arrested. Yes,
ICE will still arrest you, And like, for example, in what was it, Metropolis Blitz, the operation in
Yes.
Chicago, where they brought in, I think 15 cases have gone through and been settled. Out of those 15 cases, you know how many convictions they got? 0.
Yeah, no, I understand,
0.
but there's a way to interpret what you're saying, where what you're basically saying is it's your duty to do these things.
And by the way, I love, again, that's how you know these are two Trump deranged morons. Oh, Pisco is giving Wick a lot of charity here, being really charitable thing. Well, Wick, I think what you really mean is this. Oh, but when Donald Trump says fight like hell, no. Oh, that means violence. That means violence. There's absolutely no way to interpret that as anything else. That's definitely a call to violence. But Wick actually saying go and obstruct ICE officers from doing their job. Well, I think what Wick is really trying to say is this. Again, they're a bunch of bullshitting liars.
And obstructing
Yes,
the
you have
more
a moral
layman sense
obligation to do these
of
things.
of not cooperating, of doing what you're legally protected in doing that are covered by First Amendment. For example, going to locations in the public, telling people where to go on locations in the public, and filming things in the public. Now that's a way to interpret. Lying, I'm not sure if that would be specifically protected, to be honest with you. But certainly like not cooperating, I'm not sure. But is it the case? You're not advocating for law breaking, are you?
Law breaking? I'm advocating for. Look, I don't know the law. I'm advocating for doing what's morally right, morally just. And I gave specific things that I want people to do, and I think are good to be good to do, because I think these are the only things that will actually calm the situation down and lead to less death and less violence. The more people
Obstructing law enforcement, obstructing ICE officers, that's going to lead to less people getting hurt. Yeah, that's some big head take right there.
who record these people, right? The more people.
By the way, speaking of big head, Wick later on says like a racist jokes like about Somali people, which again, I don't care, but it's funny because this is supposed to be the side, the left, that are all about, oh, you can't say anything bad about Somalis. How dare you call them low IQ? And then Wick makes a low IQ joke at Somali's expense, and even Wick's like, "Whoa, Wick, yeah, that's racist." It was fucking funny, but it shows that these people are so full of shit.
Who record the grotesque, brutal beatings of American citizens that Rob Noerr is defending, right? The more people who see that, the more.
I know, right? I think these protesters, instead of just blowing the whistles, they should just have like a boom box of Wick just talking. I think that would probably put the ICE officers into submission.
More likely it is that ICE agents will, again, be defunded, be disbanded, and face justice. Maybe not in this administration, but in the next. I think that it is very clear, right, that, again, if you see someone brutalizing a woman, step in.
And there you have it. So he's acknowledging that he is calling for the physical obstruction of law enforcement. If he sees them, quote, brutalizing women, he admits he doesn't know what the law is, and yet he's recommending people to do this, which on its own right is something that's dangerous, and he should
Hold on, if you see 3 ICE agents raping a woman,
please let me finish. Please.
So, and also too, I got to make sure to beep that out because he's actually saying the actual word that grape is substituting for. But now he changes it. Oh, if you see a woman getting raped by 3 ICE officers, wouldn't you step in? And it's like, where is that happening, Wick? Where are the cases where ICE agents are raping women? Like, that's not happening. There's not a single case where that's happened.
I'm just asking. Do you think if you see 3 ICE agents raping a...
Yeah, you're right, Pterodactyl. It is about to get into crazy town. Honestly, I expect him to break into the song Butterfly at this point. That's how crazy it's going to get. Thank you very much, Isaac, for the $5. Everyone knows not everything immoral is illegal, but this cuck states that illegal acts are moral, therefore doesn't view them as illegal. Yeah, no, exactly. Thank you very much, Isaac, for the $5, brother. What is a woman? Yeah, I know, right? I should have asked. Rob should have asked him that.
You think people should stop them?
Please let me finish.
Wait.
I know you have a difficult controlling yourself.
We'll get an answer to that. But we'll get an answer to it. But just let him respond, and then we'll get an answer to it.
I know the big man that can't control himself that's recommending his audience on YouTube breaks the law, can't control himself. I'll get to answering his question when he sees fit to ask it in a way where he allows me to finish my point. Nonetheless, you could see that he is recommending. He says he's been very specific. He hasn't. He said things like you should stop the brutalization of a woman. Many times what he would consider brutality wouldn't be something that's illegal, and he's recommending that people make those judgments themselves and actively interfere with ICE's apprehensions of suspects that are women. This is ludicrous. And once more, he's a coward because he's recommending that his audience put their bodies on the line while he's unwilling to do it. Wick, if you really feel so strongly about this, why don't you head to Minneapolis? If you're going to recommend that your audience does it, why don't you go?
I'm going to ask you my question again until you answer it. If you saw 3 ICE agents raping a woman, would you stop them or try to stop them, or at least try to record them and get them and report them to the local police? Something, right?
Yes.
Yes, you would do that. Excellent.
Okay,
what if you see them?
So now Wick's not going to let him talk because he thinks he has something there. But that analogy, it's a stupid hypothetical, because again, that's not actually happening. That's not actually happening. It's not that ICE agents are everywhere graping women. That's not what's going on. It's not the same thing. It actually has nothing to do with this.
Going into punching them in the face. You see 3 ICE agents pinning a woman down, kicking her in the face, taking a tear gas canister, bashing her.
Yeah, by the way, remember, Wick was like, well, I'm just saying that don't cooperate with ICE officers. If they ask if you know where the Mexicans are at, you lie to them. And I also suggest that they record any such incidents that they see. Okay, so on one hand, that's all that he's claiming that he's suggesting. But on the other hand, so what he's saying is that if 3 ICE officers are graping a woman, all he's suggesting is just, hey, I haven't seen any Mexicans there anywhere. I know you're graping that woman, but I haven't seen any Mexicans. And also to record the grape doesn't make any sense. That's how you know that he's lying. Obviously, he wants to use violence because on one hand, all he's saying is, oh, just record and don't tell them that you know any Mexicans or Somalis. But at the same time, he keeps comparing it to like graping women. But you would actually want to step in if you saw a woman getting raped. You would actually want to use force to stop the woman from getting raped. So on one hand, he's not suggesting force, but he compares it to rape, which you should probably absolutely use force in that situation if you can.
Head in the side, you see blood, and one of them pulls a gun and points it at her back. What are you going to do in that situation?
I probably wouldn't interfere. Now, let me ask you some questions, Wick. What would you do?
Are you not going to answer that question?
I said I probably wouldn't interfere. Now, let me ask you some questions. Now, let me ask you some questions.
Wick, he answered the question. Now answer his question.
Yeah. Okay, now, what would you do? What would you want done to a cowardly YouTube streamer that is recommending that his audience break the law, justifying it by using absurd hypotheticals like it's basically the same as me saying I would stop 3 ICE agents from raping a woman? What would you think should happen to that person? Should they A, be held legally accountable, and B, should they be kicked off of platforms like YouTube for advocating that their audience put their lives in jeopardy by intentionally breaking the law?
By intentionally breaking the law.
Correct, which is what you suggested.
Interesting. I think that I said specifically that the things you should do are 1.
Why haven't you? Why won't you answer the question?
No, we're going to go to one at a time.
The question wasn't whether or not you in fact did those things. What should happen to someone who does those things?
It depends. Honestly, like for example, I'll give you an example. If YouTube existed in the days of slavery and someone was advocating that you help free slaves, even if that was illegal, I don't think anything should happen to that.
That's not what we're not talking.
Yeah, it's what a weird thing to compare it to. What a weird thing protecting illegals. To compare protecting illegals to slaves. These people, they really want these illegals here as our slave class. That's why they're like, well, if we send the illegals back, who's going to pick our crops? Who's going to clean our toilets? Who's going to, mow our lawns? And so here we go, another fucking lefty comparing it to slavery again. Whoa, well, yeah, so fighting on behalf of slaves is the same as fighting on behalf of illegal immigrants. What an odd thing to say, Wick.
About the hypothetical
if we're going to hypotheticals, that's what I'm.
The answer is it depends. The answer is it depends on the specific advocation.
Yeah, it depends on the advocation and the law that you're advocating to break. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I do not think law and morality are the same thing. And I think that sometimes if a law is odious, that you have a moral obligation to break that law. It would depend on the law.
So if right wingers
You
go
disagree with
online,
that?
if right wingers go online and recommend people breaking the law on YouTube, as long as they have a claim that they feel that law is immoral, you're okay with it.
So to be clear, and this is another thing I'm known for, as well as nonviolence, as Pisco said, is that I am anti-deplatforming. I think that your First Amendment rights are so important to me that you can go on and you can advocate for law breaking, and I don't think you should be deplatformed. Right wing, left wing, center wing.
That's a
First Amendment, though. But
all these people that claimed, all these lefties that claim to be free speech, none of them spoke up when conservatives were being deplatformed or whatever. None of them spoke up or debanked. None of them did. So I don't believe any lefty when they're like, no, I'm actually for free speech. And no, you're fucking not. Or else I would have seen you or heard from you speaking out loudly and saying this isn't right. Conservatives shouldn't be kicked off of Facebook or censored on Facebook or censored on Twitter or censored on Instagram or what have you. They would be speaking out about that, but they weren't. By the way, thank you very much, WR332, for the $10. Ask Wick if he would stop the brutalization of a child who can't defend themselves from their murderous intent parents and their accomplice. Vic, you know where I'm going with this. I actually do not know where you're going with this, but it's a good point nonetheless. Thank you very much, Isaac, for the $10, brother. Very much appreciated.
That's First Amendment, and I agree with you on that. I think Wick has done nothing criminal in what he did. And
maybe the FBI would disagree. Maybe someone will send in a fucking tip.
Well, I would be very much against that. I think that everything that Wick has done here has
to be clear, Rob, you don't have to just imply it. You can just say, right, what you think. Do you think that are you going?
Oh, he's talking about trans. Okay. yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, no, exactly. The realization of a child who can't defend us from the yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, that's a great point right there. But that's because these lunatics don't think that, transing your children is bad. They're like, well, if he identifies as the opposite sex at a young age, they absolutely should deserve, if they talk to their doctor, they should absolutely deserve to cut off their genitals and take hormones.
To send in a tip to me? Are you going to try to get me deplatformed?
No, I told you, in fact, I want the opposite. I wanted you to stop this dangerous rhetoric. I don't want you deplatformed at all, nor would I ever send it that, because you were suggesting the reason that Preddy is dead is because he took the exact advice that you're suggesting.
That's not true.
Yes, it is true. What happened was he was part of a group, right, that decided they were going to intentionally obstruct the efforts of ICE. They were doing so by doing things like constantly surrounding them, blowing rape whistles and shit like that in their ear, intervening on when they were trying to apprehend or prevent a woman from blowing that whistle in their ear, standing in the middle of the street, preventing them from lawfully executing the law. He decided to get in the way while he was knowingly armed. And
man, it's so wild that with the left, like with Isaac's super chat right there, we could be talking about a few things. We could be talking about abortion. We could talk about transing kids. It's pretty sad. That's how wild these fucking lefties are, that we could be talking about anything.
That leads to escalations that will predictably allow to people dying. That's what happened with Renee Good as well, because they are taking your advice. You go even further and say, not just that people should film, but that they should, quote, break the law and obstruct and prevent and lie, prevent them from being able to execute their law. You do so from the comfort of your own home. I would not call in the tip. I'm strongly suggesting that you refrain from saying these things. I think it's grotesque.
I can't refrain from saying these things because me refraining from saying these things would be an act of cowardice. These are things that I believe, and I have a habit. If I believe something, whether you like it or not, I am going to say something. I think that people need to hear these things.
Well, you're not a coward.
Preddy did not die because he, quote unquote, followed my advice. He was recording ICE. He was doing nothing illegal. He was doing no obstruction. He was not trying to interfere with law enforcement in any illegal way. He was not trying to intimidate them. What he did was he saw a woman being pushed repeatedly by ICE agents. He went in to stand between them. The ICE agent pepper sprayed him in the face. He tried to help that woman up. They dragged him back in. They beat him. They pinned him to the ground. They took a gas canister and jammed it into his face several times. They disarmed him, and then they shot him in the back.
Oh, I think this is his self-righteous speech right here. That the one that he really thought he was cooking with this. Maybe he's gonna clip this and like, this is when I told off Rob. Watch this clip.
Those are the facts of the case. Those are the facts of the matter. And frankly, it is shameful. It is fucking cowardice for you to suggest otherwise, to lie to your audience, to lie to me, to lie to Pisco, and say that the facts are anything other than what I just listed out. I just listed out things that are verifiable, that we can watch on video, that we can see from multiple angles. And not only you, the DHS, but this administration has blood on their hands, because what you are doing is you're preventing these officers from being held accountable, so they will continue to act the way they are, because they cannot be held accountable. And this administration has signaled that they will not even investigate. So fuck you. I hope that you repent.
Your performative outrage means nothing to me. You claim that you're
I know.
not a coward.
Nothing means anything to you.
I love that Rob just no-sold that whole thing. Just like, your performative outrage means nothing to me. Yes, that was the best response that he could have given, because it's absolutely true. We all know it was performative. We all know he's probably going to take that out of he's going to clip that and put it on his own channel. See, look, when I owned Rob Noerr. Look when I owned him. The power of Wick right here. It's again, he has such he has the most pussiest voice ever that it's just cringe. Like, no one takes that seriously. No one's like, holy shit, Wick's really cooking with this. I'm sorry, dude. You need like a voice transplant or something like that. You should transition your voice or something. I don't know.
Let him respond.
Your performative outrage means nothing to me. You are a coward of the utmost, highest criteria, recommending that your audience breaks laws that you're unwilling to do. If you're so outraged, you could have gotten your way after the Renee Good shooting to Minneapolis, but you don't, because you're a coward. You want to do what all of these other lefties want to do, which is to make this situation likely to have martyrs, so that the political outcome that you want of stopping ICE from lawfully enforcing the law can be achieved. And you know, by setting up and saying that people should rely on their own judgment when they think ICE is going too far with the law, and then break the law to obstruct them, that's likely to lead to violent confrontations with law enforcement. You're fine with that. The truth is, you want people like Preddy to die. You want people like Renee Good to die. You would fucking love it if someone in your own audience took your advice, went and obstructed ICE, and then was killed, so that you can make yourself the center of the story, and you would be able to then further go on and say this was more evidence as to why ICE should be disbanded. You are despicable. You are someone that I think, if we could have differing opinions or whatever, in fact, you don't even know what my opinion is on this shooting. You don't have a fucking clue. I talked to Pisco about it. You don't know, right? But the fact is, no matter what, I've never suggested that people actively go out there and put themselves in harm's way because they should do things that I think are illegal, but I would consider moral and obstruct law enforcement. There are tons of things that I thought were outrageous and immoral. For example, the FACE Act, locking up people that were pro-life protesters. Show me once ever suggesting that people should put their bodies on the line to prevent the execution of that law that I thought was illegal or immoral. It is evident that what you're doing is incredibly dangerous. It may or may not rise to the level of a crime, but it's something that you should be ashamed to do. And your tough guy routine of calling me a coward and saying, but what if they were raping women? Fuck you. You don't have shit all to say when we see all sorts of other actions that occurred in other administrations that we be tantamount. You never said shit about this. The truth is, you're a political hack. You want people to be harmed. You want them to get in harm's way. And as long as people like you spout off your fucking mouth, that makes it inevitable that ICE is going to continue to have these confrontations with people. And inevitably, some of those will result in levels of violence, which again, you will thrive on. I think that everyone that's watching this, even Pisco, understands that what you're saying is very fucking dangerous. And the fact that you want to imply that somehow makes you some strong guy, if you were really not a coward, you would be there. Why didn't you stop until I'm finished?
Hold on, no, you're not going to filibuster me.
Give him one last sentence, and then you
one last sentence.
If you're really so brave and you're not going to be a coward, why wasn't your ass in Minneapolis?
Yeah. No, exactly. Rob just cooked him again. Rob cooked him again. You had Wick's attempt at at cooking, and then you got Rob. Rob's definitely the better cook of the two. LOL, these liberals are clowns, but we have to take this destructive ideas very seriously, no matter how stupid. No, I agree. Because yes, we know they're clowns. We know they're retarded, but they don't know they're retarded. They all think that they're revolutionaries, that they're fighting the system, they're fighting the power. I completely agree, Infidel.
You done? Okay.
Yeah, he's done. That was last sentence.
The problem.
Yeah, that's another thing I was thinking too, Kylerin. Imagine going on another man's channel being that disrespectful. Wow, yeah, like he interrupted him as if Rob was on his channel. Like seriously, I wouldn't be surprised if backstage Wick was trying to figure out how to mute Rob on his own channel.
You're having, Rob, is, and I think the audience can plainly see this, right? You have to add words to what I say. You have to add and infer, like, oh, Wick actually wants this, despite everything he says. Where I can simply stick to the facts at hand. I can simply look at the facts and again go through the facts of the Preddy shooting, right? Showcase what happened, and then showcase what you've said about it. Like, I don't know your stance. I can reasonably infer it based on what you're saying now, based on what I heard you say to Pisco, based on the conversation we're having at this moment.
What do you think his stance is?
So he thinks, and because
real quick, Vic, how long would Jim Bob be able to last before he challenged Wick to a fist fight? Yeah, I know, right? Dude, I wanted a fist fight Wick after listening to this. I can only imagine that Jim Bob, it would be much quicker, maybe like after 10 seconds or so. By the way, Schlepprock, new to the stream. Keep up the good work. I was watching this last night also and couldn't sleep because of it. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, brother. Glad to see you here.
He said this, that Preddy obstructed, intimidated, or did something that got in the way, and so the shooting was probably may or may not have been good that he actually got shot, but he actually
how's it going, Avarice?
And he found out.
Did I say that, Pisco, in the entire conversation we had? You
didn't say that, but is that your position?
No, my position is that you
didn't say that. Careful if you're. I like how he said that. You didn't say that, but is that your position? Like again, everything with Wick, like he's very charitable to Wick, but uncharitable to Rob.
Armed before you're actively resisting law enforcement. But I think no matter what, the
okay, well, let me
finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
You went on a whole spiel. No, you can listen. You can control yourself. Calm down.
Let me finish.
Wait. Let Rob respond to the question.
I only got through like.
Oh, sorry. No, wait. So that was the question and answer.
I didn't answer.
Rob, so you think that's. You said that your position is that you need to be careful when you're with a gun and resisting,
and
right?
The shooting of him was tragic. And the exercising, if you started to watch this, the exercising of the Second Amendment should absolutely be allowed, even to the people that are protesting. So I don't know where the fuck he gets this. The balls that he has, implying that there's blood on my hands and then admitting, but I don't know your stance, is laughable. This is the judgment of the person that's telling people who is also getting...
Why are you lying about what I'm saying?
Hold on,
I'm not going to let him lie about what I just said.
Let Wick continue. Yeah. You answered the question, and Rob says that that's not accurate.
And this is the thing, like he lied just now. You all saw it about what I said.
What was the
right? That, he claims that he doesn't know my stance or whatever.
That is what you said.
I said, in fact, please shut up, Rob. You just can't control yourself, and I understand you're upset. You're angry that you're being righteously called out.
I thought you said I thought you said that you didn't know it for sure, but you could infer it. I thought that you did say that.
I can infer it.
So I didn't lie then. So I didn't lie when I said you did.
You absolutely lied. But let's continue.
Peace goes out of lie.
Here's the problem that
I don't think it's a lie. I don't think it's a lie. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. God, Wick. You lied.
Hold on. Are you okay? You're gonna have a heart attack, or are you gonna let me finish? You're gonna filibuster.
Rob, that's an ancillary point. That's an ancillary point. Okay, but
you're gonna filibuster. You're gonna keep trying to drown me out.
Respond to him. All right. We want some constructive dialogue. Go.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's possible to have.
Well, I don't think it's possible to have constructive dialogue with Rob. I don't think it's possible to have a conversation with a coward like Rob Noerr here.
Actually, constructive dialogue with Rob, to be clear. I think he's a liar and a coward. But beside the point for now, again, this implication that I want violence to be done is the exact opposite of the truth. What I'm advocating for is the path to actually get things to cool down and stop. I want people to be safe. And when ICE agents are out there brutalizing people, breaking the law, violating the Fourth Amendment, right? They have a secret memo going around. Did you hear about this, gang? The whistleblower that showed they had a secret memo going around saying they only needed administrative warrants to break into people's homes. That's absolutely not true. That absolutely goes against the Fourth Amendment. It's violating our constitutional rights. We see them actively consistently lying to the American public. There was an incident in Chicago, for example, where they brought a woman up on charges saying that she rammed their car and then they shot her 5 times. The officer who did it said, 5 bullets, 7 holes. Put that one in your book, boys. And guess what? When the charges came to court, they had to drop them because it turns out that the officer lied, that DHS lied about what happened. The body cam footage, the footage that was available did not show her ramming the car at all. It showed him getting out and just fucking shooting into her. And guess what happened to that officer? Nothing. He's still on the streets. He hasn't even been given, to my knowledge, any sort of reprimand. They're just going around unaccountable to the public, not being investigated. Nothing is happening to these people. So until they are held accountable in the court of law.
Yeah, sorry, just that voice, dude. Like, I can't help but laugh the way he says certain things. Like, he tries to be all dramatic and like tough, but it's just fucking funny because it's so cringe.
Right? You should treat ICE as a convicted pedophile who's coming up to your kid. That's the level of disdain you should have for these motherfucking traitors.
There you go. No, wait, please go. Allow me to retort. Allow me to retort. Oh, why are you intervening, Pisco? Because you know what he just said?
Yep.
No,
disregard.
I'm not.
Listen, disregard what my client just had to say. Okay, what he really means is this.
I'm gonna give you the full time to respond, but in response to your hypocrisy argument, what Wick is describing is that there's a difference in kind between what he sees ICE do.
See, Pisco, as his lawyer for tonight, for last night, had to be his like retard interpreter. Like, what my client's really trying to say is this. Disregard what my retard client just said. Okay, what he really means is this.
And your allegations of violations of the FACE Act, your allegations about it's what the abuses of the other administrations, and that we should treat ICE essentially as I heard him before say domestic terrorist, and now I'm hearing him say as convicted schmetophiles. What is your retort, Rob?
Okay, can I ask a question real quick, Wick, without you without you filibustering, Wick, how should we treat
just a question and answer?
How would you treat someone that was a convicted pedophile? How would you treat them?
With disdain.
What's that mean? You would just say, I don't like you. That's it.
Well, I don't like you. Let them around my kids.
Okay, and if they were in public, if they were coming up to you and your family, what would you do?
Like, I wouldn't exactly be friends with them.
If they're coming up to you, if they're coming
cards, what do you want me to say?
If they're coming up to you, if the convicted pedophile like starts to get in your face, they stop your car. What would you do?
If they get in my face and stop a car, well, I tell them to leave.
Okay, but if they don't,
hold on. Let me ask. You asked me. I'm
asking. What if they don't?
Do you think that I was going to suggest violence?
What if
Why
they
is
don't?
it that you would do violence to someone who isn't doing violence to you?
Well, that's interesting. You seemed to get in your high horse earlier and say if they were raping.
Hold on. Why would you assume?
I'm answering the question.
I'm answering the question.
I'm answering. So you wouldn't do violence on someone that was raping someone?
Of course I would.
Well, that's different. What is by virtue of the that's different. What is the by virtue of?
So the idea that when he says that
I love it when Pisco tries to like defend him. He tries to step in there. I'm glad Rob just kind of brushed him off. Like, all right, hold on, Pisco.
Treat them like a convicted pedophile or a terrorist, and then saying, "Oh, but perish the thought." You should think that would mean some. Pisco, did he earlier say domestic terrorists?
I said they are domestic terrorists. I didn't say I'd treat them like a terrorist.
Oh, okay. So nonetheless, you say, I think that it is.
What? I'm saying they are domestic terrorists. I'm not saying to treat them like domestic terrorists. Like what?
Implication is clear, especially given what you've said prior, that you're advocating for using violent actions or intimidating actions.
I really think that specifically said nonviolence. I keep repeating myself, and you keep lying about what I'm saying.
I think he's projecting. Isaac, I don't think he has kids. I might be wrong on that. I might be surprised, and he's like, yeah, actually, I have 2 children. I actually have a wife and children, and we play Dungeons and Dragons together. Like that could be possible. I don't know, but I don't think he is. I don't think he's married or has kids.
Finish my point.
Wait. I know it's your position that you're not advocating for that, And let Rob explain why you think he is, and finish your point.
Because he's already said that the things that he considers that he would allow acts of violence if it goes to a certain level, if he thought they were immoral, right? And so when he's saying, based on his subjective interpretation, when something was immoral, that he would use violence, just like he would use violence to prevent a rape victim, he could say, actually, I'm advocating for nonviolence, but it's belied by the positions he's taking. And continuing when he starts to become even more hyperbolic, saying that ICE officers should be treated like pedophiles and they are domestic terrorists. So the point that
In
I'm
terms
trying
of
to
disdain,
make is,
in terms of disdain, right?
it's not just what he was saying
Yes,
in terms of disdain.
the
What
level
happens is,
that you would like
happens
not
is-
invite them to your
I'm-
home, etc. Yeah.
Why is it not just in disdain? Are you saying because that's what's likely to happen when people hear that
No.
they're likely will hear something different,
No,
or that
I'm
Wick
going
actually
to
intends
finish.
for
I'm
violence to be
going to
done?
finish my point without you two interrupting me.
Okay.
The reason is because he is post hoc justifying when he realizes that he's calling for violence. He's implying that violence should be used, and then he post hoc justifies when you come in to save him. That's what he's doing. That's like when he
That's
said
not what
you
I'm
should
doing.
obstruct, you should be illegal, and then you tried to save him. He's going to be like, well, what do you really mean illegal? And he's
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know what the law is. Now, the full context here, you can see how unhinged and hyperbolic he's now saying that you should treat ICE and CBP as pedophiles, which you could get a little look into Wick's sort of, mental acuity there and whether or not he's able to approach these things dispassionately. Look at how he jumps on and accuses me of lying, where even Pisco has to
You
admit he
have
wasn't lying.
lied
Please, let me-
repeatedly
please,
through
let me
this
finish.
conversation.
Please,
You
let
keep
me-
saying I'm calling for
please,
violence, and I am
please,
specifically
please, let me
calling for
finish.
not violence.
Well,
I am
yeah,
saying
I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish
non-violent.
one way or another.
Wait. Let Rob finish.
Yeah, obstruct ICE officers non-violently. Obstruct them, but do it non-violently. Yeah, okay.
But let's not get
He was
into
just
this lie
lying.
thing. Okay, I mean he accused you of lying. I don't think it's a lie. Maybe he thinks it was misrepresenting his position. But go ahead. Let's
The
focus
reason
on the
this
merits.
matters, right? The reason it matters is because you can see his hysterics claiming I lied when even you admitted it wasn't a lie. What I said was accurate. He's already claiming I have blood on my hands while admitting he doesn't even know what my position was. He was just inferring what he thought it might be. Now, this is the same person that's saying, yes, you should be allowed to actively prevent ICE from carrying out operations with your body if you feel what they're doing is against the law. And he has a subjective interpretation of the law. Now, imagine what it would be like if everyone operated in this way. If I subjectively feel that something's against the law, for example, let's say that I feel that my Second Amendment is sacrosanct and I should be allowed to carry that weapon of any caliber wherever I want. And law enforcement says, as I'm entering a place they can't take it, that I would recommend to people then that they intervene because that's a violation of the Second Amendment. Or that I would say that the censorship that we saw, that was, in my opinion, through the Twitter files, etc., that
On
was
Twitter?
advocated by the
Twitter?
government, through the government or NGOs suggesting people be censored. If I felt that was against the law, then I would be allowed to rise up righteously and break the law to prevent them from doing that. This is coming from someone in Wick who admits, as he's suggesting this, but I don't really know the law. Then he goes on to talk about the Fourth Amendment. Look, you might have a strong opinion that this memo was something that would be against the Fourth Amendment. The courts have not weighed in on it. The question is not as simple as you would see. Oftentimes, people are quite positive that the law is on their side, and then the Supreme Court disagrees. Pisco's quite positive that the Supreme Court's on his side when it comes to issues such as birthright citizenship. What if the court disagrees? Should Pisco have been out there preventing people from being removed, etc., under this interpretation? That would be absurd. The truth is that you're sort of standing up and like you're talking like this, and the violence and the blood on your hands and your tough guy routine is once more.
It's like this, Rob. You have blood on your hands. You must repent. You must repent. And it's your moral obligation to attack ICE officers. If you see them brutally brutalizing a woman, you have to. It's your moral duty and obligation to attack. But I'm not saying use violence toward them. That's what you are saying, what I am saying. But I am not saying that at all.
Belied by the fact that your cowardly ass told your audience to break their law and put their bodies on the line, and you yourself are unwilling to head out there and do it. The truth is that you want ICE to be disbanded, and you're looking for a reason for that to happen.
At this point, yes,
and
I do.
You want the violent conflicts to occur.
No,
That's
I want
the
the
truth.
violent
conflict.
conflict
And
to stop.
the last thing I'll say is,
Yeah.
I like how Pisco, again, like a true lawyer, has to make sure that, like, Wick, do you want violence to occur? Like he, like he has to make sure that Wick says he doesn't want violence to occur. Like he has to make sure he says that.
Thank you.
Good,
Last
Rob.
thing I'll say is, why don't we see this sort of violence in places like Texas and Florida, where ICE is operating?
Hold on, you do see the violence in these places.
Wait,
You see them
and
in
they're operating
Chicago, you see
specifically
them
in
Portland,
they went to Minnesota for a reason, though, as well.
Yeah. You can tell already, Rob already knows what he's going to say, which is that, yeah, because Minnesota are the ones that are causing all the issues. Minnesota's the ones that's causing all the issues and that are arresting at the direction of their governor, by the way, retard Tim Walz, telling them, yes, I'm so proud of Minneapolis. You go out there and you resist. How dare these ICE agents do what they're doing here in our great state? I think we should have our police officers fight against them. And then, wait, was that Tim Walz or Jacob Frey that said that? Well, one of them. But it's the people in Minnesota that are causing these issues, the leadership there. That's why Florida and Texas are working with ICE. That's why you don't, even though there probably are some agitators there, it's not at the it's not as high as what you're seeing as in Minneapolis.
Like
because
they went to Minnesota because of
refuses
the
to cooperate. Correct. More removals
no, because of the Shirley shit. But I want Wick to respond to your substantive point.
Because of the Nick Shirley
like,
shit. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, the Nick Shirley videos came out and they're like, oh, we got to send all of ICE over there then. Yeah, no, motherfuckers. No. It's because Minnesota are actively resisting.
waiting for his substantive point, to be frank.
No. He had a point there, which is essentially that he's accusing you of hedging. And basically, you said what you said about illegality, and now you're kind of softening it a little bit. And you're kind of like happy when the violence occurs because it'll just like help further cement your ideological point. Go ahead.
First of all, I have specifically said I don't want the violence to occur. It's been frustrating because this whole time I'm saying I like waffles, and Rob is like, "Oh, bro is saying he hates pancakes," and it's very frustrating when someone just continuously lies about what you're saying. When I say, "Hey, I want to stop the violence," hey,
it's because you're lying. You're the one who's lying. You want the violence. You want force used. You're not just asking for people just to film ICE and then tell them, hey, I don't know any Somalis. I don't know where they're at. Yeah, that's not what you're suggesting people do. You do want force, but you know that you can't say that because it's going to make you look bad. Same with all you lefties. You know you can't say this because it's going to make you look bad, okay? So then you have to pretty much do everything you can to say it without saying it. It's what you accuse us of doing. You know, the dog whistles, my racist dog whistles. That's what the left actually does.
If you're going to confront ICE, if you're going to approach ICE, do it non-violently. And I specifically, not only in this conversation, but in the conversation I had on my stream on Saturday, said that specifically. And Rob here is knowingly lying because he knows that he's been destroyed in this, that he looks like a fool, that he is a coward because, again, he hasn't come to me with any of this. He came to you behind my back, thinking and hoping I wouldn't find out.
It's like 12. I want to say a couple things. So first of all, with you, Wick, I don't think you're advocating for violence. You have like a track record of being very, very anti-violence and force. And so I don't think, like, I happen to agree with you on that point. That said, on like the behind the back thing, like we were chatting and I was responding to a specific legal point and he's like, why don't you come on? And we did it. And it's like 12 o'clock. And so I do understand that it might feel bad for him to bring it up to me first and not like message you initially, whatever. But yeah, Rob, why don't you respond to that? So why is it okay for you to bring it up with me and not go to him first?
I would say that Wick himself knows that. You're trying to tell me that Wick has never talked about bad behavior that he saw of other streamers without first contacting them? All three of us know that's bullshit. What I'm telling you is I didn't even hear that. You go back, watch my show. I didn't even hear of what Wick said. And I said, give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably didn't say something like that. And someone said, no, I sent the video in your chat. He specifically tells people to obstruct ICE. They have a moral obligation and they'll get arrested to break the law.
I'll say it again.
specifically says it. Right. See? And so once I found that, and then I
Because
was
it's
going to
true.
talk to Pisco, I was like, that's interesting because we were talking about incitement to insurrection, and then it's clear that that's what Wick is doing.
It's not incitement,
Of
dude.
course,
Of
It's
course
so
it is. Of course. Based
Hold on, is that your claim? Actually, I didn't
Yes.
know this. You're
My
saying
claim
people
is-
I'm
my
inciting
claim is-
an insurrection
my
against the
claim
federal
is-
government?
you
my
think
claim
he did
is-
a crime? You think he did a crime? Because incitement's a crime.
My claim is the following. If the standard that was used to say that Trump incited an insurrection because he said
Okay, so Pisco right there says incitement's a crime. Okay, so how is what Wick said not incitement? How is that protected by free speech, Pisco?
things like fight like hell, and then you saying, oh no, but it had to do with his intent. It is clear that Wick's intent is to, Wick, just answer some questions. Is it your intent to prevent ICE from carrying out the law?
Yes, I don't think they're following the law.
It's not.
No,
Oh, okay. So then
I think ICE is breaking
What
the
are you?
law.
What are you obstructing?
what are you obstructing?
Oh, you're
then?
obstructing what they're doing.
I think they're
but
breaking the law.
What
I
they're
think
doing, but
Enforcing our laws is breaking the laws now, I guess. You make it make sense. Yeah, is it legal to deport people who aren't here legally? Oh, it is? Is that what ICE is doing? Oh, it is? How are they breaking the law exactly?
brutalizing
Okay.
people, civilians. I think that they're intimidating civilians and trying to shut down their First, Second, and Fourth Amendment rights. I think that they're engaged in Eighth Amendment violations with cruel and unusual punishment as well. I'm advocating for the law to be upheld.
Okay,
but
what?
the deal with the Rob's point about the Wick decide standard, right? Well, the Wick decide, like
Well,
people
so
could
I
say that
don't
about-
outsource my
yeah.
decision making to anyone. Yes, of course, I'm going
So
to
you're the
use my
arbiter
own
of the law.
judgment. Absolutely, I'm going to use my own judgment. Do you not?
No, I don't consider myself the arbiter solely of what's legal and what's not.
I
And I think
consider
that the fact that you
myself the
do,
arbiter
while
of what is
admitting,
moral for me.
quote, I don't know the law, it's laughable. The
Hold on.
truth
He is the arbiter of what's moral for him. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, he's an atheist then, guys.
is he's advocating for obstruction of ICE carrying out the law because he thinks that the deportations and the way they're doing it are illegal, correct?
Yes, I do.
There you go. So he's advocating for the
Well,
obstruction.
hold on. The deportations may or may not be illegal. I don't know, but the way that
Okay.
they're doing absolutely
Okay,
is
so the
not
way
only
they're
illegal,
doing it-
but more importantly, let me
I would agree
finish.
with that.
More
Yeah.
importantly, it's immoral.
Okay, don't care about the
I also agree with
morality,
that.
your opinion on the morality. So, one, 4 standards for an insurrection, according to you, Pisco, was that it's a public purpose.
Assemblage, use of force.
Are you
or
are you
intimidation
recommending
and
people
resist-
assemble? Wick?
No, but he could.
Hold on.
He
I
could
said,
say,
hold on. Again, assemble to do what? I say, if you see ICE,
Mhm.
okay, and I'll say it again, you get out your phone, you hit record. If you see ICE and they come up and they ask you, hey, where's the Spanish population? Where's the immigrant population? You ain't seen nothing. That's the specific things I'm calling for. I don't know, like, is that an assembly? Do you hear an assembly there?
Yes, I'll go further. I think you're saying
Okay, so you
more-
hear an assembly there. You're just to be clear, you think that me saying these things is me calling for an assembly.
No, I think that you've gone further to say more
Okay,
than
no,
that.
answer
You've
my
acknowledged-
question,
Yes,
motherfucker.
no, but,
Answer my
but
question.
it's not explicitly calling for an assembly.
Of
Yes,
course
it's
he
not
is.
calling for an
Of course
assembly
he
at all.
is. He's going to
I'm not
lie
asking
now.
people to gather
He'll lie
together
now.
into groups.
He'll lie now and say that he's not calling for it. He said specifically, he
Hold
didn't
on.
just say, he didn't say
Hold
just
on.
you'll let
You're
me
lying
finish.
about
You'll
me.
let me finish.
Let him respond. Let him respond.
He didn't
But
say
why is he
just-
calling for an assemblage?
He didn't say just lie. He said that you should get out there. You should follow them. You should record them all. You
Yeah.
should prevent them from doing things.
but that's
that
not
I
an
think's
assembly, right?
unlawful. Yes,
Of
he's
course it's not an
recommending that
assembly.
groups of people do that.
Well,
Of course,
oh,
it's
so
not
you're saying-
assembly. No
but-
assembly has been called for.
Oh, so you don't think that you're not
Can I
saying
do that all on my own?
Hey, should we all go out there and protest
How can I
ICE?
can I do that all on my own by myself?
I just want to be clear. Theoretically,
Hold
you
on,
can
I'm
do that.
asking you a question. Do you think that I can do all those things that I mentioned on my own by myself? Do I need
Yes.
anyone else to
Yes,
do
you
that?
could do them on your own by yourself. Now
Yes,
you'll
you're
answer.
great.
assume,
Now you answer.
even
Now
assuming he
you
was calling.
answer. Now you answer my 2 questions. Did you say that you're going to do it on your own by yourself, or did you call for your audience to do it?
I said it's your moral obligation.
Answer. Did you
to,
say
which
I'll do it on
implies
my own?
that it is both?
Yeah, I was thinking that too, dull and tired. Why would ICE ask the public where the targets are at? They would already know. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wouldn't ICE already know where all the illegals were at? You know, why would they be asking the public, hey, do you know where the Mexicans are at? Hey, do you know where the Somalis are at? Like, why would they ask? You know, like they know where these people are.
my
say I would
obligation
do it on
to,
my own?
and their obligation
Did you
to,
say I
and
would do it on
frankly,
my own,
your
or did you say
obligation
them?
to.
Oh, so you said
So he
that.
was talking. I watched the video. He was talking to his audience for sure.
Sure.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's
Rick,
calling
if
for
you
all his
have
audience
a
to get
moral
together,
obligation
right?
to do it, why haven't you?
Yeah.
Because ICE isn't in my neighborhood.
So what? So it's okay if they're committing their abuses a couple hour drive away?
Look, there's someone being murdered across the country. If I was there, I would have a moral obligation to prevent that if I could.
So just to be
Isn't
clear,
this kind of like the if you want higher
Locality.
taxes, why don't you donate money to
no, it's
the
nothing
government
like that
argument?
at all. His argument is
I mean, yeah, actually, kind of. It kind of is, Pisco. And by the way, why is that not a good argument? Yeah, like, why do you want to force everyone to pay taxes? Why don't you just pay more or donate to charities or do something with your own money? Why are you forcing everybody else to do that? So yeah.
these are people
No,
that are
he's
domestic
arguing
terrorists.
that I should. He's arguing that I said that he's implying at least that my moral obligation would entitle me to go and move across the country and spend lots of money. Nowhere did I imply that.
flight.
Nowhere did I say that.
That is
Rob,
not-
once again, is just fucking
No,
lying because he's a fucking liar.
when you're
And frankly,
telling,
Rob is just too stupid to have this conversation.
I don't know what to say. The
His
fact that you would
IQ
call
is below Somalian
the
level.
fact that you
okay?
would-
It's crazy.
the fact
But,
that you would
Somalian level?
apply,
That was fucking
Look,
racist.
I know,
for
no,
Somali.
maybe that was a little too
Oh,
far.
right here.
Why the fuck did
Yeah. Yeah, that's where Wick gets racist and talks about, oh, the Somali IQ, makes a joke like that. And it's like, what? I thought you were the left. I thought you were the tolerant left. Oh, you can't say racist jokes like that. We're anti-racism. Yeah, what happened with that, Wick? And you and Peace goes like, whoa, hey, Wick, what the fuck? Like I said, these people are all freaking bullshit liars. They're all full of shit.
Say that.
You can't say that. By the way, thank you very much, Isaac, for the $5. Wick has a relative and subjective morality. He's dangerous but doesn't know it. Guys like him will let evil happen while expecting to get praise. Yeah, that's absolutely true, Isaac. Thank you very much for the $5, brother. Very much appreciated.
That's fucked up. Say that for the
late.
Somali
because
Okay,
he's
community.
it's
a
late.
one-
I'll
It's a
wait.
little fucked
he's
up,
a
but
wannabe tough guy.
said,
That's why he said
that
it.
said,
Now the truth
here's the
is,
deal,
that's not
right?
what he. No, I'm
the
not
idea
going to.
he has to
Wait,
insert things.
Let Wick have a sentence to clean up what he just said, and then
All these people are liabilities to each other. Destiny's a liability too. He's also says things that are he also says awful things too. Like Destiny's a liability. Pisco, I don't know Pisco so much because, like I said, I think Pisco knows how to word things, you know. But those other two are definite liabilities.
Rob can respond. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Take your
So this idea, right, that he and this has been throughout this conversation, where he has had to insert things that I didn't say. He's had to lie about what I actually said. He has to pretend that I didn't say things that I did say in order to try to force like this point that I have somehow done something cowardly.
One sentence he had here. There's quite the fucking
or
run over.
or disgusting.
So Rob,
And what I'm
respond to that,
saying-
please.
And what I no, let me
Can we-
finish.
Yeah,
'cause
there
I
we
haven't
go.
made my
One
point yet.
sentence. Sheep is
Well,
Just finish
what
that real quick,
I'm
and then
saying-
Rob, you can respond.
and I want to be very clear, is that I'm not calling for an assembly, and the fact that he thinks I did is
Assembly.
laughable, right?
I don't think
But
it
I'm
is,
not
but
calling for
Rob,
violence. I've
let Rob
specifically
respond.
called not for
You did say
violence.
that, yeah.
It's just crazy.
But you did call for. I think a reasonable person listening to that thinks that you're calling for obstruction and the crime of obstruction. Now, I'll take you at your word because of your reputation for being
Appeal to reputation fallacy. But yeah, like so again, look how charitable Pisco has to be toward Wick, and look how he has to sweep for Wick and defend him and make sure to be, like I said, his retard interpreter. Like, okay, well, I believe you, Wick, when you say you don't want violence because you're not a violent guy.
against violence, and I think it's a strong reputation. I think even Rob would grant that, and I think that's why like Rob gave you the benefit, because I did hear him giving you the benefit of the doubt. So I did think he would grant the reputation
Am
part.
I going to get a chance
but
to speak,
as
or
I
is
heard
it
it.
just the
Yes,
piece
go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Jesus
Okay,
Christ, you're such a baby.
So
Go ahead,
what
respond,
you,
Rob.
so what you can see is, as my racist
I like how Wick calls him a baby for wanting to talk on his own fucking stream. This is his stream, dumbass. Yeah, I mean, he should be the one that has priority on when to talk and when not to talk and what have you. If Rob wants to talk in his own fucking stream, he's like, geez, such a baby. I can't believe him wanting to talk on his own stream.
Bonin here wants to say things. The key is, it's not just that I'm saying he's immoral because he doesn't go do it. I'm saying he's immoral because he is literally telling people to break the law, which he is unwilling to do. Imagine having such a moral certainty.
You keep saying I'm unwilling to do it. I'm willing.
Shut up. Shut up, right?
You keep lying. If you stop lying, I'd stop talking.
If you would do it, why haven't you?
Let him finish real quick.
Now, the truth is, he is telling people to break the law. That's what makes this unique. He's not telling people, hey, you should volunteer at the soup kitchen, and me saying, why don't you volunteer at the soup kitchen? He is telling his audience that things are so bad that these are domestic terrorists, that they should be treated like pedophiles, that they have the moral obligation to obstruct justice and break the law. That's what he's doing, while he himself has not done that. That's what's hypocritical about it. That's what makes him a coward. If he feels this is such an important issue that he is suggesting that his audience put themselves in harm's way where they are likely to interact in a violent confrontation with ICE, because he's not just saying lie, he's also saying, if in your judgment they are going too far with the apprehension or the execution of the law, then morally you must intervene. That's what he's saying. That's exactly what he suggests. In fact, he is specifically saying that what Preddy did was moral and righteous, and he and his audience should do it.
What Preddy did was moral and righteous. Yes, I will stand by that. That's the first right thing you said. But what were the two examples I used?
Okay.
You keep filibustering.
You'll be able to explain. Wait. So finish up, Rob, and
now what happened with Preddy? He was killed. That's what Wick is recommending. He is recommending that people put their lives on the line, that they intentionally obstruct. That's what he's doing. I'm not making up. He literally said, break the law. You'll get arrested.
Preddy didn't break the law.
Now, what do you think?
I don't think Preddy broke the law either.
Preddy didn't obstruct. Preddy didn't break the law. The fact that he got killed is entirely.
Okay, but deal with the criticism.
Finish my point.
Okay,
the idea that saying your interpretation of whether or not he broke the law is irrelevant. What you were saying is two things. One, people should break the law. And second, people should prevent ICE from apprehending people like Preddy did, which led to him dying. That's what happened.
With this conversation is you bring up like 10 lines. And I can't address them because I forget what you want about in the first place. So please address this point by point.
I remember
a violent altercation with ICE. That's what you're doing. Okay. And you're doing it from the comfort of your home while you're unwilling to go out there and do it yourself because it'll cost money. So much for your faux fucking moral obligation.
Okay, Wick, these are the criticisms. The first one is related to your hypocrisy that you don't actually do the things that you are advocating others to do. Can you address that first, and then I go to the other one?
He says I'm unwilling. Of course I'm willing. Again, just proximity has.
So what? ICE has to be in his fucking bedroom or next to his refrigerator or something for him to be like, oh, like to step in. You know, he's trying to open his fridge, and there's like an ICE officer there apprehending someone, and he's like, "You're in the way of me opening my fridge. Can you please move? You're upsetting me. I can't get my pizza rolls. All right." Like, how close proximity do they have to be to Wick in order for him to do anything about it?
Like, again, you have a moral obligation to protect someone who you can protect, right? You have a moral obligation, if you see something, to say something. If I see ICE, if ICE comes to my neighborhood, if these things happen, then absolutely I have a moral obligation to do those things.
So you're saying
I'm not calling, just real quick, I'm not calling on anyone to go to Minneapolis. I'm not calling on anyone to move. I'm not calling on anyone to go into any specific place. Never, nowhere will you find me a clip of me ever saying that. Rob is simply misrepresenting what I'm saying.
So the standard you're saying is I am applying my standard. My standard isn't go to these places. It's in your day-to-day and within a reasonable distance of what you're doing. Do that. Okay. The next criticism was that the nature of their advice is dangerous. That even if you think it's morally justified by your own view, that it will. Yes,
I will admit that it is dangerous, but it is only dangerous because of what ICE is doing and how they are acting. And I think that you have a moral obligation to put yourselves in danger because you are. And I want to be very clear. If you exercise your First Amendment right around an ICE agent, you are putting yourself in danger. There is a chance that they will beat you, arrest you, or even kill you. Still,
actually
your
agree that-
moral
I
obligation
agree with that.
remains.
I agree that given some of the findings of these court decisions about what they're doing with these people, even who are doing nothing illegal.
Oh, it is
but
dangerous.
that's
yes, that's
okay.
true.
But
that doesn't.
let's put to
like
this,
you some. Can
agree.
you just like let me finish, please?
Yeah.
You still just because something is dangerous doesn't mean that your moral obligation to do it goes away.
I agree.
Then go do it.
Okay, but put aside the clearly lawful stuff where there's an inherent danger, and I think Rob wouldn't have a problem with you advocating for that for like peaceful protests or whatever, even though it's dangerous.
I would
Now
even
get into
argue
the obstruction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would even argue it's more dangerous in the long term not to do these things. If no one was recording ICE, they would be able to get away with a whole lot more, and the danger level to the citizens of the United States would increase exponentially, and it would
Okay,
cement their
No one's
power.
talking about that.
But let's deal with the obstruction related activity.
Yeah, so that was stupid retard Wick, guys. That was it. Sorry, I couldn't take anymore. It was just too much Wick. But yeah, I was listening to this. I was getting so frustrated. And I was like, man, how is Rob keeping his cool with this? He has the patience of a saint. But Rob, I think perfectly owned him. I think he's told him what needed to be said, which is, Wick, you're a fucking dumbass. And stop telling people to obstruct ICE. And you're a retard for doing it. And you're possibly breaking the law with inciting people to obstruct ICE agents. You idiots. You idiots. Please go subscribe to Rob Noerr for more awesome videos and live streams just like that one. And also subscribe to my channel too. You'll help me out a lot. There's more content on the screen that I think you'll enjoy. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy that video? I hope you did. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, or else you're gay. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I'm just trying to save you from sin. Also, make sure you catch the cool stream live Mondays through Fridays right here on my YouTube channel. And make sure you follow me at any of these links down below for everything Cool Vic.